Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. That's what you guys respond. You don't forget to say salam? You guys don't know how it works? Usually when someone says salam, you respond straight away? You don't know about that? Okay. Anyway, today inshallah ta'ala the discussion is going to be on the issue of hijab. I know last time you wanted to talk about the jinn, right? So I did put that towards the elders and your teachers, but they wanted me to talk about this instead. Maybe next time inshallah we can go through the jinn, or maybe in the Q&A if you have some questions we can answer that. But I think talking about hijab is a very important topic. But there's a bit of a context to the discussion of hijab which I need you to understand. And in order for you to understand the story of hijab and why hijab is so important, I need to take you back to the beginning of human creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned He created Adam alayhi salam. And when He created Adam, Adam was in Jannah and he was having an amazing time in Jannah. Jannah is amazing, but he was lonely. And Allah Azza wa Jal gave him what? He gave him a wife. He gave him a spouse. Okay? So now you have Adam and his wife, and they're living in Jannah, and Allah told them that there's a tree. Allah said, do not come anywhere near this tree. Don't come anywhere near it. Was there a fruit on the tree? Was there a particular type of fruit? Yes, but do we know what the fruit was? No. Did we say it was an apple? We're not Christians. The Christians said it was an apple, not us. Okay? It could have been an apple, could have been a banana, it could have been some cool Jannah fruit that we're never going to see till we get there. Whatever it was, that's not relevant to us. The point is Allah told them not to eat from that tree. Okay? Now, Shaitan came, and to cut a long story short, he basically tricked Adam alayhi salam into doing what? Into eating the fruit from the tree. And he convinced his wife to do the same. Now there is a reason why he did it. Does anyone know why Shaitan wanted them to eat from the fruit of the tree? Anybody know? Allah actually tells us in Surah Al-A'raf, the 7th surah in the Quran, but it's shocking, a lot of people don't know. And it's very important for you to understand, because Allah Azza wa Jal told us, إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ عَدُوٌ مُبِينٌ, that Shaitan is a clear-cut enemy to the human beings. He's clear enemy to you. So you have to understand his plotting and his planning. You have to understand, he's an enemy. Okay, what does he want to do to me? What's his plans against me? So Allah told us in Surah Al-A'raf the reason why He wanted Adam to eat from the tree. Does anyone know? If you can answer right now, you get £5. Go on. As in, that's I want the specific reason though. You're not wrong there, but I want the specific reason. Yeah.
He's just against it, and because Adam was created from mud and he created from fire. He's saying like, why is he like got everything?
So that was the motivation he had to make him hate the human beings. But that's not the reason he wanted him to eat the fruit. Go on.
Because he wanted him to disobey Allah.
That's what she said. Of course he wanted to disobey Allah, but specifically, what was his specific plan? Go on. Yeah, of course, but like, I want the specific thing. You guys are good at giving overall answers. Inshallah, let me give you the answer. Don't worry, you might have another opportunity to win £5. The reason is because Allah Azza wa Jal said to us in the Quran that Shaitan, he wanted Adam and he wanted his wife Hawa alayhimus salam to basically lose their clothes. He wanted them to lose their clothes. He wanted their clothing to be removed from them. Why? Because, I'll tell you why in a second, but what's the connection between eating the fruit and their clothes being taken away from them? Because the clothes that they were wearing were the clothes of where? The clothes of where? Jannah, right? So, if you're not in Jannah anymore, what happens to your clothes of Jannah? You can't take them. Can you take the clothes of Jannah onto earth? So when they were being removed from Jannah, their clothing was removed. So they became naked. And then Allah Azza wa Jal, He sent them onto earth. اهبطوا منها جميعا. Get down from this place, Allah Azza wa Jal said to them. All of you, you have to go now. You disobeyed me. Because in order to be in Jannah, you can't disobey Allah. The moment that Allah was disobeyed by them, Allah said, now you have to leave. But if you have to leave, what happens? Your clothing has to go as well. So in that moment, Adam alayhi salam, his clothing became removed. So he ran to cover himself. He ran to cover himself up because he was very shy. Of course, the Muslim is shy. They have shyness. They have modesty. They want to keep their clothes on at all times. Question though, why did Shaitan want them to get their clothes taken off them? Why? Why did Shaitan want Adam and Hawa to have their clothes removed? I'll tell you why. What was the reason why Shaitan had a problem with Adam in the first place? Why didn't he bow down to Adam when Allah told him to prostrate to him? Why?
Because he was made of fire.
Yeah, he said, look, I'm made of fire. So what he's trying to say is my body. He's trying to say my body is better than this body. His body's made of clay, but my body's made of fire. So my body is better than his body. So his issue was what? His main issue is with the human body. And because Allah preferred the human body over him and told him to go down and respect Adam, he hates the human body. So how does he want to get revenge on the human body? By embarrassing it, by humiliating it. And it's very humiliating for a person to have their clothes taken away from them. For a person to have their clothes stripped off them. Like, even in London, in some places where, there's gangs and people are on the streets and, what I'm saying, if they have an issue with someone, what they do is they'll remove their clothes from them and then they'll video record it and put it online as a humiliation, as an embarrassment. As in, look, they took his clothes off him. You see, this is a big embarrassment. So Shaitan understood. He said, the best way for me to take revenge on the human race is to do what? Is to humiliate their body by making them naked. By stripping them off their clothes. So this is very bad. Now this is Shaitan's main goal. He wants to strip humans off their clothes. And why specifically strip them off their clothes? Because you see, the Prophet ﷺ said something powerful. He said, إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحْيِي فَاسْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you lose shyness, if you lose modesty, then you're going to do whatever you want. What the Prophet teaching us here is that between you and sins, there's a shield. The shield is called shyness. There are certain, look, sometimes you might say rude things in school, like you might speak and insult, or sometimes even a swear word might come out your mouth. But would you do that in front of your mum and dad? There's certain things that you will do when your mum and dad are not there, and then there's certain things that you'll never do if your mum and dad are there. Put your hand up if you agree with me. Do you agree with me? You agree, right? Why? Because you're shy of your mum and dad. You're shy. You're shy. Like, how can my mum hear me say that? How can my mum see me do that? Of course you're scared of them as well, and you respect them as well, but there's shyness. If you're embarrassed, my mum heard me say that. It's not just fear, it's embarrassment as well. Now right now here in front of me, I'm hoping that maybe you respect me, inshallah, and you won't do certain things in front of me because you respect me. And the respect, it brings about a degree of shyness. Does that make sense? So there's shyness with Allah, there's shyness with the people, there's shyness in different levels. But when the shyness goes, then you'll do whatever. You see the kuffar when they walk on the streets and they get drunk and then they're half naked and they're swearing and they're doing this. Do they have shyness? The shyness because the modesty went, that feeling of being bashful and shy and modest and haya. We call it haya. In Urdu, we call it sharm. I think in Bengali it's similar as well, right? Am I wrong? It's sharm, right? So in Arabic it's haya. In English we call it modesty and shyness. This is a shield between you and what? Between you and sins. Now, here's the thing. How do you take away a woman's shyness? By getting her to remove her clothes. First the hijab goes, she becomes a little bit less shy. Then what happens? Her clothes get tighter, her abaya gets tighter, and then suddenly it's not an abaya anymore. It's trousers that are baggy, and then what is it? It's a dress, and then the dress becomes tighter, and then it becomes skinny jeans, and then it becomes a skirt. And every time the clothes are becoming less and less and less and less, what's also becoming less? Her iman. Her iman is getting less and less and less. She's swearing more, she's listening to music more, she's talking to boys more. Does that make sense? She's speaking with boys, she's now got a boyfriend, she's now going out, she's hanging around with the wrong crowd, she might start smoking, she might start taking drugs, and this happens. And then before you know it, she has now been humiliated by shaitan. And I tell you something, my sisters, yeah? You know, you might have already heard this, or you will hear people say this. You know, they like to say, oh, you know, women have freedom to dress however they want. Have you heard that? Put your hand up if you've heard that before. Put your hand up if you heard that. They say it's freedom for a woman to dress however she wants. If she wants to dress half naked, it's freedom. Wallahi, it's not freedom, it's humiliation. It's humiliation. If you went up to any woman and you just ripped her clothes off her, she would feel so embarrassed. She'd feel so humiliated. But here these women, they choose to walk out their houses without hijab. They choose to walk out without wearing the proper Islamic clothing. They choose to let boys look at them. They choose to let boys touch them. They choose this. And wallahi, shaitan is just laughing. They're saying, this is liberation, this is freedom, freedom for women. Women empowerment. Shaitan is saying, you stupid idiots. I'm laughing all the way. Look at you, running around naked. A'udhu billah. Literally running around naked. And pay attention, being naked doesn't mean that your actual flesh is necessarily seen. The Prophet ﷺ told us that one of the signs of the Day of Judgment is that there will be women who are dressed but they're naked. What does that mean? How can you be dressed and naked at the same time? Because the whole point of clothing is not to hide necessarily the skin, but it's to hide the shape. So if a woman wears clothes that hug her body tight and they show her shape, then what's happening here? It defeated the purpose of being dressed in the first place. So she's got her skin covered, but what is it? Her body can be seen. Some women, they go a step further. They wear clothes, but they see through. She's dressed, but she's naked. So you can actually see the skin now as well. So it's important. It's important, my sisters, for you to ensure that you cover up, okay? Why? Because so far you understand that shaitan, his plot and his plan is that he wants to remove your clothing. That's why everywhere, every magazine you'll see, women are naked. On the TV shows, women are naked. Even now you see these hijabi YouTubers. Have you seen them? Do you know any hijabi YouTubers? Go on, tell me, who do you watch? It's okay, I'm not going to judge you. You can be open with me here. This is open session.
I can't remember her name, but she was like a vlogger.
They're all vloggers, aren't they?
Yeah, but like she had a hijab and then she took it off.
So she took it off?
Yeah.
Oh, does anyone know her name? One sec, put your hand up if you know her name.
Something with Tokyo in it.
Oh, okay. Something with Tokyo. Like you didn't know, huh? Do you guys know her? Do you guys know her? Yeah. But you see, now this is a perfect example here. Look what happened. Her hijab got less and less and less and less and less, and then what happened? She took it off. Is that not exactly what Shaitan's plan was? And how did it happen? Like she came out, she started listening to music in her vlogs. She started to what? Do makeup, publicly teach girls how to do makeup, show women fashion, tight clothes, this, that, and the other. So we don't even say that that's hijab. And then it became the turban hijab. And then what happened? Then she took it off. And then what's happening now? Now it just gets worse and worse. She says things that sometimes a person could interpret to be, or it can be left to be, wallahi, it's statements that could be statements of disbelief. Like, you know what she said in one of her videos? She said, I don't like the hijab. Do you know that to say, I do not like anything, if you do not like anything that Allah sent down, do you know it's kufr? Do you know it's kufr? Allah said, ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ كَرِهُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأَحْبَطَ أَعْمَالَهُم. Allah said, the people who became disbelievers is because they didn't like what Allah sent down. So you can't dislike the hijab. I can't dislike the beard. At least you guys, when you go home, you can take your hijab off, right? Can I take this off? It's with me. And when I wake up in the morning, it's a mess. I have to go to the bathroom. Look. I have to carry this around all the time. Halfway through the day, this is going to go out of control. But you guys, do you have this? In one angle, maybe it's a bit easier for you. Is it? I don't know, it's debatable who's got it hardest. The point is that, I can't, no matter how much the beard might, be difficult to maintain and have, and people might look at me in a funny way, I can't dislike it. I have to love it because Allah sent it down. Does that make sense? Who else do you guys watch? Just, I'm interested. I really want to know. Who do you watch on YouTube? Who do you watch? Yeah, you. Yeah.
I don't really watch anything.
So you listen?
I listen to the Quran sometimes.
Allah barik. Are these like staged answers or is is that genuine? What was that, sorry?
She would.
She means it, huh?
Yeah.
Allahumma barik, mashallah. That's good. Thumbs up. Stay like that, Allahumma barik. The point is, all of these, man, they call themselves hijabi YouTubers. Can I tell you what they did? They basically wanted to get through to girls like you because they wanted to make money from you when you grow up. So you wear hijab, so they were like, oh, look. I want to show you how to be confident in your hijab. Have you heard them say things like that? Have you heard them say things like that? You guys are not ready. Either say no or yes. You can say no, I don't mind. But can you respond? You never heard them say that? Okay, well, that's the kind of stuff they put out, that we want you to be confident in your hijab. And then they tell you, hey, how to be confident. Put a little bit of foundation on, a little bit of concealer, put some makeup on. And then before you know it, they take the hijab off you. They never care about hijab. They just care about making money, selling their makeup, selling their clothes. Does that make sense? So we shouldn't even call them hijabi YouTubers. They're just YouTubers because it's not hijab. That's not even hijab. Hijab doesn't just mean to put a cloth around your head. Hijab is the whole thing. Yes?
I was just going to quickly say, some of the girls would think as well, because of the statement that you just made, some of the girls would think that if they wear the hijab, if they don't wear makeup, then they look more ugly than if they just wear the hijab and no makeup.
So do you believe that if you wear the hijab and you don't wear makeup, you look ugly? Do you believe that? Do you believe that? Do you believe that? I really appreciate the honesty. Anyone else feel like that? Does anyone else feel like that? Deep down, I know someone feels like that. There has to be. Can I tell you something? You know Allah Azza wa Jalla, when He told the women to wear hijab, you know what He said to them? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them to cover up their beauty. So, when Allah told the women, cover up their beauty, Allah Azza wa Jal told you to cover something that you have which is beautiful. So Allah Azza wa Jal is affirming that you have beauty. So if Allah thinks you're beautiful, does it matter what any guy thinks or anyone else thinks? Does it matter? So I believe 100% that the woman who she wears hijab, she is beautiful if she doesn't do it with makeup and all that. You know why? Because Allah Azza wa Jal, He considers her to be beautiful. Why would Allah tell you cover your beauty if you didn't have it? Huh? Does that make sense? If Allah's telling you cover your beauty, am I going to tell you hide your money if you're broke? You don't have no money and I say, hey, hide your money. Does it make sense? But when Allah Azza wa Jal says, He says what? He says, cover your beauty, hide your beauty. That means you're all beautiful, Allahumma barik. You all have beauty, mashallah. And I'll be honest with you, if a person, if a person who's on the same level as you praises you, if a person who's just like me, he's in school, and he says, oh, you're really smart, it's not going to mean anything to me. But if my teacher turns around and says, hey, you're smart, I'll be like, whoa, someone who's actually smart is telling me I'm smart. There's a reason for me to be a bit, oh wow, I'm actually intelligent here. Does that make sense? So the same way, if a human being comes to you, if like a boy comes to you and he says, oh, you're beautiful, that means nothing. Because Allah, the King of Kings, thinks you're beautiful. When Allah tells you, furthermore, you know what Allah said? The way Allah made you without makeup, and the way He made you without all of these extra things. You know what Allah said? Allah said, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Allah said that certainly I created the human being in the most beautiful form. Allah created you all beautiful. There's not a single one except Allah, He made you perfect and beautiful in your way. But these people, what do? They come with face paint. It's face paint. Wallahi, if back when I was young, if we saw the women how they put makeup now, wallahi, I think it's a clown. Like, you know clowns, have you seen the clowns? They put the white paint on their face and then the red lipstick and wallahi, back when I was in the 90s, if I saw one of these girls come out on a night out, I think it's a jinn. I'd run. What's going on here? Because it's just too fake. Like, you know Beyonce, you know what she done? Put your hand up if you think Beyonce is beautiful. Have you heard of Beyonce? Okay, maybe you haven't. I shouldn't even mention her. Those who have, do you think she's beautiful? Do you think she's beautiful? Put your hand up if you think she's beautiful. Do you know what she done after having plastic surgery? Number one, she's had plastic surgery. Her face doesn't really look like that. But you know her ribs? You know her bottom rib? She had the bone removed to make her waist look tighter than it is. She's trying to give her that. Like I'm saying, you have to go through surgery to have that shape. You have to go through so much like artificial manipulation to look like that. You don't need any of that. Does that make sense? These people are not real. They don't exist. The way they look on TV doesn't exist in the real world. Even these girls who you watch on YouTube, these hijabi, YouTubers and makeup artists, do you not know that they use filters? They don't look like that. Come on, you lot must have seen Instagram and the different filters that they have. It's a filter. And do you guys know what contouring is? Contouring, it's a type of makeup technique. Do you know what it is? What does it do? What does contouring do? Who can tell me? Huh? You never heard what it does? It's to make the shape of your face look different. It changes the bone structure. It makes your cheeks look like this and your jaw look like this and this, that and the other. I'm saying you don't need to do that. Allah told you. Allah said, I already made you beautiful. So why do you have to go through all of that? You're trying to be beautiful, but Allah is saying you already are. To the point where what happens? Then it just becomes fake. It just doesn't become real anymore. Do you see? Do you guys have any questions before we move on? Any questions? Usually here's what people ask about makeup and eyebrow plucking and this, that. Or you guys not at that age just yet? Okay, do you have any questions so far about anything, about hijab? Do you have any questions about hijab? What is hijab? What's not hijab? Okay, I'm going to pause here because I know you definitely have questions. So I'm going to let you lot work up the courage and the strength to ask, inshallah. Do you want me to go out and maybe you can write out the questions on the paper if you lot feel shy to ask directly? You have the question?
Is lip balm makeup?
Okay, so look, because I'm a guy, I don't really understand makeup fully. So you have to explain what is lip balm to me. Like, let me understand it. So okay, so explain to me what is it? Like, does it have a color? Does lip balm have a color?
No, it's clear.
Okay, does it have a smell? Does it have a fragrance?
Some of them you can get them scented ones.
Okay, if they're scented, then no, because women can't wear perfume out publicly. You can wear it at home, you can wear it if there's a little girls at party or girls gathering, but if there's out, like where the men are and whatnot, then you can't have any perfume, yeah? So, okay, if it has, so you're telling me it's clear, and it's just to make your lips not like rough. Okay, then that would not be makeup, inshallah. If it's the way you described it right now, if you deceived me in how you described it, then
What about like Vaseline?
say that again?
The Vaseline one.
Yeah, Vaseline is not makeup. Like if, for example, a person, like, put on cream. But the thing is, there's like makeup creams. There's makeup creams. Like, moisturize, is it haram to moisturize your face? No, of course not. It's not haram to put on cream. But then nowadays they have creams that are like foundation creams. Wallah, it's like shaitan's inventing new things all the time. And you can tell it's makeup. And the girl's like, no, it's just cream. Like, are you telling me cream's haram now? It's a foundation cream. Is it called foundation cream? Is that right? It's like a makeup kind of cream. Just be careful, inshallah. The thing is, let me ask you a question, yeah? The concept of looking, you see the whole concept of looking beautiful and wearing makeup. Makeup's not haram as long as you do it with your family, As long as you do it, inshallah, one day you're going to get married and you're going to have husbands. You could do it in front of your husband. The point is that why would you, who is there to show? You know men, can I tell you something about men? Can I tell you something that's going to shock you right now? You know men, when they look at women and they have, for example, a lot of makeup on, or if they're wearing clothes that are very tight or their body parts can be seen, do you know how the man's mind operates? Does anyone know? It operates as if he was to see a piece of meat. They actually done a study. Pay attention. They done a study. They did a research study where they placed women who were dressed in a not nice way in front of the men. And then they put meat, like steak, in front of the men. And the same part of the brain of the man that was operating when he was looking at the meat is the same part that was looking at what? When he was looking at the woman. Now I have a question for you. Do men have respect for meat? What do they do? What do they do with meat? They eat it and throw away the bone. Do they feel, oh, the animal, look, I ate him. Does he feel like that? Does he feel any sadness? He doesn't, does he? So do you think he's going to feel like that when he looks at that woman the same way? For that woman, he just wants to do haram with her. The same way he just wanted to have his desires fueled by eating the meat, he just wants his desires from the woman. He just wants to enjoy her. And then he's going to break her heart. She's going to cry, scream, beg, oh, I thought you loved me. He doesn't care. You know why? Because he would never look to her as a human being. He only looked at her as a piece of meat. So one day, sisters, you're going to want to get married. Look, I'll be open with you here, inshallah. Allah didn't create the human being to be alone forever. Allah is al-witr. He's the one who's alone. But we are a-shaf. I told you, Adam, he was in Jannah. But Jannah is not Jannah if you're not married. If you don't have a wife, right? So you're going to, inshallah ta'ala, you're going to have a husband one day. You're going to want to get married. You're going to want to have a husband. There's nothing wrong with that at all in any way, shape or form. And no one should make you feel judged for that in any way. Allah created you with the want to one day get married and to have a husband, inshallah. But the thing is, who's that guy that you're going to marry? Who's the guy you're going to marry? And how are you going to go about getting that guy? Some girls, they do it by dressing in a certain way to attract the men, by looking a certain way, by conducting themselves in a certain way, flirting with the men, talking to the men, being like that with the men. But they don't understand. When they do that, they're attracting the wrong kind of men. Because the men that they're attracting are the ones that are looking at them as if they are just a piece of meat. And that's why they will treat them in a very bad way. They won't care about her feelings. He won't care about her emotions. He won't care about her mental health. He won't care about that. He just wants to, what? He just wants the woman. That's it. But whereas if you carry yourself in a correct way, and you cover yourself, what do you have? You have class now. You have class. You have respect. You have honor. And you attract a kind of husband that will be what? That will be decent as well. Indecent men go for indecency. Indecent men go for decency. I'll tell you something else. You know, in this country, did you know that the women used to wear hijab? Did you know this? In up until the year 1910, 1920. Did you know that the women used to wear hijab in this country? They're kuffar, but they wore hijab. Why? Did you know that the queens of Eastern Europe, they used to wear niqab? And they were not Muslim? Did you know this? Did you know this? Did you know that the queen of Spain used to wear niqab? You know what niqab is, right? Cover the face, right? Why did they do this? Because it was always a sign, even if you're not Muslim, but to cover yourself was always a sign of respect. This is a classy woman. This is a decent woman. This is an honorable woman. This is a noble woman. And that's why Allah Azza wa Jal, when He said to the women that He wants them to wear the jilbab, why did He say wear the jilbab? Allah gave them two reasons. So you can be known. Known for what? Known to be a classy woman. Known to be an honorable, righteous, respectable, decent woman. وَلَا يُؤْذَيْنَ. And also that you're not harmed. Harmed by who? Men. Who look at you in a way where they lower your value. They look at you as just a piece of meat. You're just the value of what? Just a piece of meat. Does that make sense? So this is why the religion wants to protect you, it wants to honor you, it wants to raise your standard. It wants to raise your standard. Does that make sense? Is the time up, Sheikh?
About 15.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
Is that enough?
Yes, that's more than enough, sure. We just have question and answer now. I'll let you lot just ask me questions, and if not, I'm just going to sit here for 15 minutes and drink my water. Yes.
You're not allowed to drink water.
Hmm?
You're not allowed to drink water in it.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry.
You are that. Don't worry.
Okay, I broke the rules. I'm sorry.
You're not allowed to eat food. You're not-
Okay, I'm going to follow the rules, inshallah.
Water's allowed. He's a teacher anyway, so it's difficult. Come on, girls, come on, some questions. Don't be shy. When it comes to learning our religion, there's no shyness in our religion.
Yes.
She's asked if she can wear skin-coloured tights or socks.
So, skin colored tights or socks? You mean for socks?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see, so good question, by the way. You don't have to feel bad for asking. Say that again. When you're praying. When you're praying. When you're praying. That's a good question. We'll have to ask the scholars. Have to ask the people who have knowledge. Just to be on the safe side. But just generally speaking, I would not advise sisters to wear like skin color socks if they're, for example, out and about. And the reason for it is because it looks like skin. It genuinely looks like skin. So it's doing that same thing where it's giving that same effect. Does that make sense? So I don't blame anyone if they thought that it was okay, because in your mind it's socks, right? So I don't want anyone to feel like bad or like judged or anything like that. But it's just for future, just to kind of keep in mind. I would say not to do it, because the whole point is it would kind of come. Maybe I would be scared that would come under the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the time will come when women will be dressed but they're naked. As in, it's the clothing is there. It's not the skin, but it might as well be. Do you see? It might as well be. And in terms of salah, I don't know, wallah, I'd just be scared to answer that, because I have to just double check with a sheikh to answer that question, inshallah. That's a very good question. Any other questions from this side?
Can you get?
Do you want to ask her on her behalf, the way she asked for you?
I don't have any questions.
Come on, you might just throw it out. She done it to you. Okay, don't worry, we'll come back to it, inshallah. You have a question, sister?
Can you get other ear piercings that aren't in the lobe?
So when it comes to ear piercings, it depends on what the culture is. What's like your culture? And when I say culture, I don't mean like non-Muslim culture. What your culture is like back home. Like where are you from back home?
Pakistan.
You're from Pakistan. So like in Pakistani culture, like what would be like ear piercings that are like appropriate? So to be honest, I don't know. I'm Pakistani myself, but I don't know. But I guess like I don't know. Like nowadays, like the women, they have like crazy ear piercings, man. She's got like 10 in her ear. I'm like, how heavy is your ear right now? Like, it's like it's gonna fall off. So I don't know. But can I tell you something? Can I tell you something? Yeah, from a guy's perspective, as an older brother. Would you like me to give you older brother advice? Would you like that? You don't. You said no. You said no. You like it? You know what looks good on a woman is when it's less. Have you ever heard the saying, which is less is more? Less is more. You see, I'll be honest with you. Wallahi, yeah, whenever you speak to brothers, you speak to boys, you ask them, do you like when girls have got so much makeup and so many piercings? And they'll tell you, to be honest, no. Like I told you, it looks like a clown. It genuinely looks scary. It's like, whoa, what's going on here? She's got all these ear piercings, and you think, bro, what's going on? Like she's got like, why is your ear so shiny? You know what I'm saying? But they'll always tell you, less is more. Less is more. Have you heard that saying? Less is more. Because it's less, you put less, but where it has more of an effect. It has more of an effect. But that's for when you're married, inshallah, yeah.
Are men allowed to wear jewellery?
Are men allowed to wear jewelry? No and yes. So it depends. There are jewelry, for example, men can wear rings. They can wear rings. They can't wear necklaces, because necklaces are for women. They can't wear earrings because the earrings are for women. Because the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah Azza wa Jal, His curse is upon a man who imitates a woman, and also a woman who imitates a man. So earrings are for women, and necklaces are for women. So for men to wear earrings and for men to wear necklaces, they're imitating women. Does that make sense? Rings aren't for both. Men can wear rings and women can wear rings. So men can wear rings. Yeah? Inshallah, yes.
Can you have medicine which has gelatin in it?
Can you have medicine?
Which has gelatin in it?
So inshallah ta'ala, you can have gelatin. You can, because gelatin, you see in our religion, that's a very intelligent question, mashallah. In our religion, you see the ruling, the hukum, it changes when the thing changes. Yeah? Now, is alcohol haram? Is it haram? But alcohol can become what? Vinegar. So have you ever had vinegar on your chips? Do you know that it comes from alcohol? But it's not alcohol anymore. It's no longer alcohol. It's changed. Does that make sense? So because it's changed, it becomes halal. And the Prophet ﷺ, he would have vinegar because the alcohol is not there. So now the gelatin comes from the animal, right? It comes from a protein which is inside of the animal. Now, it goes through so much process and so much change that by the time it becomes gelatin, it's no longer the animal anymore. It's no longer the animal. The same way, for example, me, I'm made from what? Originally, what's the human being made from? Mud and clay and water, right? But am I water right now? Am I clay? It changed. And then when I die, what's going to happen to my body? What's going to happen to all my bones? It's going to become mud again. So it's going to become earth. So you're one thing and then you're a different thing and you change. You can change state and you can change form. So now the gelatin, it is no longer the animal anymore. It's changed. So that's why the scholars such as Shaykh Ibn Baz, Shaykh Al-Albani, may Allah have mercy on them, they mention specifically about gelatin, that gelatin, there's no problem with it. So you can have Haribo. But I don't know what your parents are going to say about that. So, I would personally tell you try to avoid it, but I can't say it's haram because it's not. Look, can I tell you something? What's worse, eating pork or drinking alcohol? What's worse? They're both haram, but what's worse? Alcohol is more haram. Alcohol is more haram. Alcohol, the scholar said, is the mother of all sins because you get drunk and then you do more sins with it. If you eat like haram meat, you're not going to get drunk, are you? It's just haram that you eat. It's very bad. It's so evil. But it's not what? It is not as bad as alcohol. But I'm saying now the alcohol became vinegar. So alcohol is worse and it became vinegar and the Prophet used to have vinegar. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, there's no issue with vinegar. And it came from something worse. So then if it comes from this animal that's not been slaughtered in Allah's name, the gelatin, and it also changed. One changed from something that was worse, and the Prophet had it. So then what would be wrong if the gelatin came from something that is not as bad as alcohol? It's still bad, but it's not as bad as alcohol. Does that make sense? Because it's changed. But I'll be honest with you, just don't upset your parents and don't get me in trouble by going back to your parents and say, oh, Ustad Imran said that you can eat gelatin and do it. Maybe try and explain it to them in a nice way. But I eat Haribo. And I eat marshmallows. And I have a very good life, alhamdulillah. So, and can I tell you something? The Haribo from the shop, it actually tastes better than the one that says halal. It's all halal. It's all halal. Fruit pastels, the whole lot. Do you have it as well, Kamran? No, he hasn't come yet.
Are you allowed to wear earrings with when you pray, are you allowed to wear earrings with faces on them? Not like faces, but unicorns or pineapples.
So anything with any, good question, any, we're not allowed to, we're not allowed to even own anything that has images on it. So let alone wear it during Salah. Because the Prophet ﷺ said that the angels, they don't come into your house at the time that there are images in the house. So if the angels don't come, who comes? The jinn, evil ones. Does that make sense? But there's a difference now. Like, have you seen like the Puma logo? Have you seen the Puma logo? That's not considered an image because you can't see anything. It's like a shadow. So it depends if you're talking about an actual image or like a shadow. Like, do you know Ralph Lauren, Polo Ralph Lauren? Have you seen their logo? It's like a shadow. You can't really make out the whole, it's just like a shadow. It's a silhouette basically. So silhouettes are not a problem, but what is a problem is what? Is the actual images. Does that answer your question? Inshallah. We'll take on there.
Can we wear fake hair extensions at like different gatherings with men?
Say that again, sorry, there are?
Can we wear fake hair extensions like at segregated weddings? Or
Good. So the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that it's not permissible for women to wear fake hair extensions. And this also applies to eyelashes. You know, nowadays women, they do eyelash extensions, fake eyelashes. So this is not something that's permissible. The reason is because it's changing the original creation that Allah Azza wa Jalla, He gave to you. So shall I give you a rule? Can I give you a rule? Anything that changes your original creation is haram. You can't change your original creation, but you can enhance it. So for example, you can get your hairstyle done, and you can dye your hair, and you can do all these nice things, and you can put makeup on at a segregated wedding. You can do all that, as long as it doesn't change the original thing. That's why braces are permissible. Braces don't change your original, they don't take teeth. You're not taking teeth out. You're not removing teeth and putting something else in there. It's just enhancing that which Allah already gave you. Does that make sense? That's why you can go to the, you can, as long as you're not changing and altering what Allah gave you. So even though that's a temporary alteration, it's still not permissible. And if I'm not mistaken, the Prophet ﷺ, he said that the person who does that will receive the curse of Allah Azza wa Jal. And the curse means that Allah's mercy will be removed. But if you didn't know, if a person didn't know, don't worry. There's nothing wrong with what you didn't know. If you've done it in the past, no problem. Just make sure, inshallah ta'ala, in future, just note it down and be careful. Yeah? Does that answer your question? Inshallah. Someone who hasn't asked the question. Yeah, you.
are you allowed to dye your hair black? Some people say
So there's a difference of opinion amongst scholars about dyeing your hair black. And there's a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam where he told Abu Qufaha, radiallahu anhu, who was the father of Abu Bakr, he told him not to dye his hair black. So some of the scholars said that this is specifically with regards to Abu Bakr's dad. As it was specific only for him, and you can dye your hair black. It's just he wasn't allowed. Others said no, it's general, it's for everyone. I'll be honest, I don't know what the right answer is. I was talking to one of my teachers about it the other day. I don't know what the right answer is, but I would say to be on the safe side and to avoid it for now, and definitely avoid it, because the Prophet ﷺ said that if something is clear and it's halal, and something is clear and it's haram, there might be things in the middle that might not be clear to you. The Prophet said stay away from them, because it's either halal or haram, right? It's 50-50. So imagine you get it wrong, you still get the sin. You still are at risk of getting the sin. So it's best to avoid it, inshallah ta'ala. And look, you see, shaitan, he likes to play games with us. Some girls, they get upset, like, oh, I can't dye my hair black. Like, you can dye it like another 90 colors. You know what I'm saying? You can dye it like a dark brown if you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, shaitan always makes us want to go for the one thing that's haram. Like, how many drinks are haram? Who could tell me? Alcohol, what else? Urine and blood. Yes, haram. You can't drink it. Yeah, some like Hindus, they drink cow urine. Yeah, they put it in their food because they worship the cow. The cow's a god for them. So they sprinkle cow urine. They buy it in the shop. It's like you know how we have like spice that we put on our food. They put cow. You didn't know this? Yeah, Hindus, they put cow urine on their food. So the point is that we're not allowed to do that. But look at all the drinks that are halal. You can have milk, you can have juice, you can have smoothies, you can have milkshakes, you could drink water, you could, the drinks that are halal are so much. But people just want that one alcohol, that haram drink. Does that make sense? Go on.
So I have two questions.
Yes.
The first one is, if you hit your finger with a compass or something.
If you what, sorry?
If you hit your finger with a compass and then you suck it, is that haram?
Why would that be haram?
Because it starts bleeding and to stop it you just suck it.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Why don't you just put a plaster to stop the bleeding?
No, why you get a plaster?
Say that again?
So why you get a plaster you suck it so it doesn't bleed everywhere?
They just don't swallow the blood.
And the second question,
Just spit it out after, right? Does that make sense?
second question is it haram to whiten your teeth?
No. It's not haram to whiten your teeth, inshallah. Because you're not changing what Allah gave you. Allah gave you white teeth and you're bringing it back to being white. That makes sense? But if you brush your teeth, it'll be white anyway. Did you know that? Look. I carry my toothbrush around everywhere I go. This is a toothbrush, you know this, right? You never seen this? It's a siwak. Your teeth will always be white, inshallah. Inshallah. You had a question?
You can only dye your hair natural colors because I think it's a difference of opinion that you can't dye your hair some kind of pop pink.
Yeah, like crazy colors. And also it's imitating the kuffar. Like, like who would dye their hair pink? Or like, like orange. Like, that's only because we saw the kuffar do that. So
My
keep.
friend dyed her hair green.
Ooh. Was she sick?
No.
Because green is like usually vomit. Like even the emoji on the phone, the green is. Huh?
It was her favorite color.
Oh, it's a favorite color?
Yeah.
Okay, tell her to change her favorite color. Inshallah. I would say I would avoid, it's not human colors. It's not human colors. Look, how you lot are all born after the year 2000, right? So I'm born in the 90s. Like when you used to think of green hair, we used to think of aliens. Like honestly. So it's best to kind of like, just keep it like, as you said, natural. Yes.
What if you have like photos, but if they're in your house, but you keep them like face down?
Okay, so are they still in the house though?
So you have to take them off.
Yeah, what you do is you can keep it. Remember, digital photo on the phone is different to a photo that's in real life.
Oh, but I got given one by my friend.
Say that again?
I got given one by me and my friend.
So just take a picture of it and put it on your phone, and then rip it up. But you still have it, it's on your phone. Right? The thing is, look, what's more important? The sentiment from your friend or from Allah? You see? Allah Azza wa Jalla, He wants to protect you. Do you guys know why images in the house are not allowed? Do you know why? It's because this is where shirk started from. People started to worship gods besides Allah based on images. There were men who died that were righteous, so shaitan came to people and said, make images out of them so we can remember them. فَطَالَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْأَمَدِ A long time passed, and what did they do? فَيَعْبُدُونَهُمْ They started to worship these idols. Shaitan came slowly. So today, the way pictures are spreading, wallahi, you'll see in about 50 years, people are going to worship these pictures. It happened in the past, every time it happened. And the Prophet ﷺ said that the people who have the severest punishment on the Day of Judgment are the picture makers. So to actually get a picture and get it printed out, you can fall under that hadith. So I'm not saying it's wrong to have a picture on your phone. The reason is because it's not a real picture. It's just codes and numbers. And it's like looking into a mirror. When I stand in front of the mirror, I can see an image. And when I step out of the mirror, I can't see the image. So the same way on my phone, I can see the image. The moment I close my phone, the image is gone. Do you see? So that's why the scholars, they said that using like digital pictures on your phone is okay. But having real ones, that's a bit of a danger. It's a problem. Does that make sense? Or like I'm saying, you're going to have a jinn in your house. 100%. Unless you want to make friends with the jinn. Like, I mean, are you cool with the jinn? Like, do they come and maybe like, like ring around the rosy? Say that again?
You can put like photos in your shed.
The thing is your shed still in your house though?
No.
As in, your house is that whole property.
Oh yeah.
Do you see?
What if like?
Do you understand? If you take a picture of it on your phone, you've got it forever. Shall I tell you why? It's safer on your phone because you can put it on the iCloud. You know what the iCloud is? Yeah, then it's there forever, inshallah. Picture, imagine a house catches on fire, the picture's gone. You have to move house, go to different, the picture's lost. But it's in that cloud somewhere, wherever that cloud is. It's safe there, inshallah. Yeah? You had a follow-up question? Okay, go on.
You know, for like you can get like a background on your phone.
Yes?
Are you allowed to take have a picture of your family?
Wallahu alam, I don't see that to be a problem, inshallah. I don't think it's considered a picture the way it is when it's printed out. It's a digital picture still. Yeah? Inshallah. Go on. Yeah, you.
What if you want to be an artist?
You can be an artist, you just can't draw living objects. Yeah?
Is a tree a living object?
Pardon, sorry?
Is a tree?
Okay, so objects that have a soul. Objects that have a soul. So you can draw mountains and rivers, you can do abstract art and do all this cool stuff. But you just can't what? You can't draw, you can't create things that Allah created. Does that make sense? Because that falls under challenging Allah's creation. And wallah, it's very, very important. The Prophet ﷺ, these are things that people take very lightly. The Prophet said the people who have the severest punishment on the Day of Judgment are the ones who make pictures, who make images. You want to be an artist? You can be, no problem, inshallah. But just avoid like humans and whatnot. And also the main image is the head, by the way, yeah? That's the main thing. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, if you take away the head of the image, then it's no longer considered an image anymore. Yes?
I heard something about keeping photos on phones, how you shouldn't because it's like holding past or something about that.
I don't know.
Like,
I have heard that.
haram.
I have heard that, but I didn't feel like it wasn't a convincing argument. I didn't feel. I'll be honest, it's better to not take pictures. Wallah, it's better, because then you're going to grow old and then you're going to look and think, oh, that's what I looked like when I was young. Then you're going to be depressed. But just wait till you get to Jannah. You can replay your whole life again, and then you're all going to be young and eternal in Jannah, inshallah. I think. What do you think? Should we leave the pictures for Jannah? Huh? He's a photographer, that's why I'm pretty much. Go ahead.
Are imaginary friends haram?
Just like
So I always wonder when people tell me, "Oh, I've got an imaginary friend." I'm like, does she mean jinn? like honestly. Like, one second, explain this imaginary friend thing to me. Let's have a real conversation about this. Explain to me what's an imaginary friend?
Like when you're lonely, you just like talk to like air.
So what do you say?
And you think that it's
Like, hey Aisha, how are you? Like, is it like that?
yeah, like that.
So what's your imaginary friend's name?
No, I don't have an imaginary friend. I'm just like, because when I was younger, I used to have one.
You used to have one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's because you're a young kid. So you what did you do? Like, talk me through it. What did you do?
Like, I like talk to it when I'm lonely.
Like, how old were you?
Like 6.
Okay, and so what was it like? You'd say, hi, how are you?
So, I'll probably just like start just like speaking
Like what? Like,
about healing. Just like speaking.
hi, like, hey, what's up? Like that?
No, just like talking about how bad my day was or how good it was.
But that's you talking to yourself, right?
Yeah, basically, but like you think that someone's there. Do you believe?
It's not a jinn, right?
No.
I don't think there's an issue, inshallah. I think you're just venting. You know what venting means? Like, when you're stressed, you just talk to yourself. Oh, why, life is so hard. Subhanallah. Oh man, I had to finish all my food and I was full and my mum forced me to finish it. Like, it's not really an imaginary friend. But I would tell people avoid it because you know what, like imagine you're just talking to air and then suddenly what? Like shaitan can play tricks with you. Like a jinn could be then he responds and you think, oh, I've got an imaginary friend now. Oh, look, she responds. And it's a jinn that's responding, and then now what happens is you've got a jinn that's attached to you now. So I would just avoid that, But if you're a little kid, you're 6, 7, obviously it's understandable, you don't know what you're doing. But at this age, please, don't get any imaginary friends. Yeah? Yeah? Inshallah. You have a question?
What if, say you're entering your old age and you're growing grey and white hairs, and originally you have naturally black hair? Could you dye it back to your natural colour?
As in you already have black hair
But you're going into your old age.
and you dye it back to your original color. I'll have a look at that, inshallah. That's a good question. You lot asking intelligent questions today, man. Let me write this down. Can I use a piece of this? Is it possible, or is this? No. What was the other question someone asked here? It was you, right? What was the other question? The one I said about the wearing the skin color socks for salah, right? Let me write this down. Yeah, can you message it? The skin color socks for salah. And what was the question? Can you dye if your original hair color is black, can you dye it back to black if it goes grey? Because mine's black. I got grey hairs coming up everywhere. So I need to find out for myself. Yes.
You know how you said you can't drink your blood, like if you cut yourself or something? What if your tooth falls out and you...
Anything you do accidentally is not your fault. Anything, there's a rule in the religion, anything that happens accidentally, Allah is going to forgive you for it. Anything you do accidentally, or you do it because you forgot, or you do it because there was no way out of it. Allah Azza wa Jalla is not going to hold you to account. Does that make sense? We'll take last few questions and then we'll go, inshallah. How did you like today's session? Was it interesting? Did you learn anything new? Did you learn anything new? Did you all learn something new? I'm really happy that this table engaged for the first time ever. MashaAllah. You guys always stay on the same tables, isn't it? So mashallah, you guys started to talk. Alhamdulillah, you guys have lips and a tongue that moves. I was starting to think maybe, there was an issue there. But mashallah, that's good. Can I tell you something? Shyness is good in every situation, except for when it comes to seeking knowledge. Shyness is good in every situation, except for when it comes to asking a question. When you ask a question, don't be shy. So in that situation, always ask questions, inshallah ta'ala, because look, by asking these questions, do you feel like you learned more during the questions or when I was talking? Put your hand up if you felt like you learned more during the questions. Look at that. We spoke about so many different topics because you were brave enough to ask the question. Does that make sense? Go on.
Are you allowed to remove hair, mustaches or haircuts and stuff like that?
A woman can not remove from her eyebrows, and she can. I'll double check for you. Just write that down, inshallah. Definitely eyebrows you can't touch.
But can you remove the middle? So it doesn't look like you have just one eyebrow.
I'll be honest with you, no one can tell except for you. As in, not you, as in the person, only the one who has the hair in the middle can tell. Do I look like I have hair between my eyebrow? I do. It's so clear for me when I look in the mirror, but you can't tell. It's so faint, no one cares. No one really cares. Everyone is normal. Everyone, 99% of people have hair there, but you can't tell. It's just normal. Does that make sense? So I would leave it. I would leave it. I wouldn't touch it. Especially again, if you notice the issue about hair extensions, plucking the eyebrows, all of this is what the Prophet said. Allah's curses upon the person. Why? Even the woman who imitates a man who imitates a woman, Allah's curse. Why is it so strong? It's because Allah created you a certain way, and we're trying to change the creation. And Allah said, I created you beautiful. Allah said, I created you perfect, and you're trying to change it. So that's why it's all it's quite tough, the rulings with regards to this. Yeah? Go for it.
So, if you wear a hijab at school and you have a male PE teacher, but the school rule is to take your hijab off, what should you do?
I would say I'm not keeping my hijab on. I would say I have to keep it on. I would say kick me out of school if you want. Do you want to share the contribution?
Oh, I was just telling her that you can.
You can, yeah? Yeah. I heard you can too. But for religious reasons, they can't stop you. They can't stop you. Definitely, sisters, never compromise your deen in school. It doesn't matter what any teacher says. Teacher says you can't pray. So I'm sorry, I have to pray. I was on an aeroplane one time and they were telling me I can't pray. I was like, listen. I was like, you're not my God. Allah is. So I was like, I'm going to pray right now. And then they were all screaming and, oh my God, we're going to call the police. I was like, bro, call the police. I was like, Allah is my Lord. At the end of the day, I have to pray. Do you see? So it doesn't matter what anyone says to you, ever, in any situation, don't be shy of your religion. Does that make sense? Don't be shy to be a Muslim. Do not be shy to be a Muslim. Be confident about your religion. Shall I tell you why? Because Allah Azza wa Jalla, He honored you. Allah Azza wa Jalla, what did He say? He said that He took the believers and He raised them high above all of mankind. So you're better than the kuffar. If they look at you funny, I just look back funny at them. I said, but you worship a man. Or you don't even believe there's God. You're so stupid. You what do you think? You came out of nowhere, just popped. You're an idiot. So I don't feel any shyness when there's a kafir standing in front of me. I feel so confident. I feel so strong. When I feel shy is when there's Muslims. When I come in, I see all the brothers and the teachers. I'm like, wow, mashallah, these are good people, man. They're righteous Muslims. When there's a kuffar, I say, A'udhu billah, man. Get out of here. Don't talk to me. Of course, you don't be rude to them. I'm joking. I wouldn't really say don't talk to me. But the point is, don't feel shy. You are honored. You are raised. You are from those who are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Does that make sense? So don't ever feel shy. Yes, you have a question?
You know how you said boys can't dress like girls?
Yeah.
Girls can't dress like boys?
Absolutely.
So usually boys wear trousers, don't they? So can girls not wear trousers?
They can wear trousers at home or under their abaya.
School.
Say that again?
The school you have to either wear trousers or skirt, like trousers.
So they wouldn't be allowed to wear trousers in school, no. Because you see, like, you see some of the trousers at home are like, as long as they're not manly trousers, they're kind of like tights, like leggings. They kind of skinny jeans. That's what girls wear, right? Basically, they kind of operate. They don't operate like trousers. So the reason you can't wear them is because outside in public is because they're tight. Does that make sense? You have to wear abaya over it or jilbab over it. In terms of school, you can't wear trousers. That's imitating the men, and also it's not covering one's legs. Look, you know, in school they can't stop you from wearing abaya. They can't stop you from wearing it. They cannot stop you. Legally, you have the right to what they call freedom of religion. Tell them 1998 Human Rights Act. Article, I think it was 13 or 12 or something like that. So you have the right to freedom of religion. And if they ever have an issue with it, you know what you do? Contact me, I'll make a video online about the school and embarrass them. And we'll have people just embarrassing the school. But you can wear abayas in schools, it's not a problem. If some schools are funny about that, you can challenge them on that, inshallah ta'ala. Yeah? You have a question? Did you have your hand up just a second ago?
Yeah.
Oh, the question got answered? Okay.
But like in like schools, like normally the skirts are quite short, so that's why girls usually.
So wear a longer skirt.
Yeah, but the skirts like have to be up to your knee. They can't like pass your knee.
That's what I'm saying. Look, for religious reasons, you have an exception. Like, let me give you an example. Yeah, when I, where was I? I was somewhere. Where was I? Look, Sikh people are allowed to carry knives for religion. If I get caught with a knife right now, I'm going to jail. But Sikhs for religion, do you have to wear a motorcycle helmet? Of course you do. You can't ride a motorbike without a helmet, right? But Sikhs don't have to wear a motorcycle helmet because of their turban. So they allow you to express your religion. Things Muslims get scared. They tell you, oh, you can't wear no hijab in school. Oh my God. Oh, the kuffar said I can't wear hijab. And then you get scared. You have to just be direct and say, look, I'm here, I'm going to be a good student, I'm going to be a respectable student, I'm going to follow the rules, I'm going to get good grades, but I have a religion and I'm going to follow it. If not, get homeschooled. But you can't compromise your religion ever for anything, in any way, shape, or form. Does that answer the question? Does that answer your question? You have a question?
Yeah.
Go for it.
What if your trousers like really baggy?
Okay. So the issue is that you can't wear trousers, period. Look. Let me explain what you have to wear. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu, qul li azwajika wa banatika wa nisa'il mu'minin. Allah said, Oh Muhammad, go and tell your wives and your daughters and the rest of the believing women. Are you believing women? Are you believing women? Allah said, Muhammad, go and tell your wives, your daughters and the rest of the believing women. What? Yudnina alayhinna bi jilabibihinna. That they take their jilbab and they put it over themselves. Now jilbab is what? Jilbab is a big cloth. It's an item. You lot are wearing basically the big loose abaya, and throw it over themselves. So if I take a cloth and I throw it over myself, is it going to wrap around my legs or is it just going to float over my legs? Do you understand the point I'm making? If I do I have a cloth to demonstrate with? Just imagine that this is a cloth, right? Just imagine this is one of you. So if I take this and I wrap it round, what happens? It goes round both of the legs. It doesn't go around each individual leg. It's not like a socket to put your leg through. Does that make sense? So that's why you can't, like women can never, ever, 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 ever wear trousers outside, no matter how baggy they are. It has to be a jilbab / abaya that is like a jilbab. Does that make sense? So it has to be. Is that a problem? Why? Talk to me.
I know.
Because Allah said. Allah said, أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ. Allah says, should I not know that which I created? Allah says, I know you, and I know what's best for you. Shall I tell you why? Because when women wear trousers, okay, look, because you're asking questions, so I'm trying to not really go into certain topics, but there are certain body parts that are very visible when a woman, when she wears a trouser, for example. Like, there are certain body parts that are very visible. I remember I told you the concept of men, that when they look at women, and they look at them in a way where they can see their bodies, their mind functions the same way as when they look at a piece of meat. Remember I told you about that study, right? So when women, if they're wearing trousers, what's happening is that their figure from the back is very visible. Does that make sense? And that men, they should only be able to see on their wife. So when they do, they lose respect for you. And then a person's shyness starts to kind of trickle away. Does that make sense? Until eventually it just becomes tighter and tighter and less and less and less and less. Does that make sense? I'm saying even the non-Muslim ladies in this country, about 80, 90 years ago, they wouldn't wear trousers. In fact, trousers, women only started wearing them in this country about 40, 50 years ago. It happened after World War II because they were trying to get the women to become like men. They were telling the women, go out, work, this, that. The reason they needed the women to work was why? Because the men went out for war. So the men were not working in the factories. So they said, hey, women, go out and wear trousers. I mean, it wasn't like that, but that's what it led to. Does that make sense? Can I tell you something, sister? I know, wallahi, I know it's hard. I really know it's hard. It is not easy. It is tough. But wallahi, your reward with Allah is going to be so high. Like, you know, sometimes you might feel strange, right? Like, oh, I can't wear trousers, everyone else wearing trousers. I have to wear hijab, everyone else is not wearing hijab. Does it make you feel strange? Okay, but I'm saying if it did, it would not be bad. Shall I tell you why? Because the Prophet ﷺ said Islam is something strange. And it started strange, and it will return back to being strange. And then he said, فَتُوبَى لِلْغُرَبَاءِ. The Prophet said, and glad tidings are to the strangers. Because we're strange when it comes to the non-Muslims. You know why? Because what are they? يَأْكُلُونَ وَيَتَمَتَّعُونَ كَالْأَنْعَامُ وَالنَّارُ مَثْوًى لَهُمْ. That what do? The disbelievers, they're like cows. They're like cattle. What do? The cattle, they just eat. They just eat all day. They eat whatever they want. They graze wherever they want. They go wherever they want. They just, does the cow follow rules? Does the cow follow any rules? Does it follow any law? It does whatever it wants. It takes number 2 where it wants. It goes and hangs around wherever it wants. It'll eat wherever it wants. It doesn't care. Allah said the disbelievers are like that. They're like literally like cows. And Allah said, what's going to happen for them? وَالنَّارُ مَثْوًى لَهُمْ. The hellfire is going to be the place where they stay. But for you and me, inshallah ta'ala, you follow the rules that Allah gave you. Allah is saying, I made this world. Pay attention, please. Allah is saying, I made this world. Allah said, I own this world and I own you. You want to live here? You have to follow my rules. You live in England? You have to follow the laws of the land, right? You live in America? You have to follow their laws. You go back home where you're from? You have to follow their laws. So you have to follow the laws of the place that you're from. Allah says, whole earth is mine. Allah, what do you say? Maliki yawmiddin. He is the king. Maliki yawmiddin is the king. He's the owner. He owns this. Allah says, قُلْ لِلَّهُمْ مَالِكِ الْمُلْكِ تُؤْتِ الْمُلْكَ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتُعِزُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتُذِلُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, this whole kingdom is His. He owns it. He honors who He wills. He humiliates who He wills. Allah said, إِنِ الْحُكْمُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. That making laws belongs to Allah Azza wa Jal. No one else has the right to say what to wear, what not to wear, what to do, what not to do. Allah did it. So these people, they don't listen to Allah. They have the nerve to live in Allah's land, to eat the food that Allah gave to them, to live in the bodies that Allah made for them, and they don't obey Allah. And because of it, you see what? Women get, abused by men. Like, nowadays, they don't hire women unless they look a certain way in certain shops. So what happened to a woman being intelligent? It's about the way she looks and the way she dresses. So it doesn't matter if she got what? A's and top grades in school. It comes down to what? The kind of makeup she puts on her face. Is that not belittling the woman? That she's only worth what? A bit of face paint? A bit of makeup? That she's not worth what's in her mind? That's belittling the woman. So what the society wants to do is to take away everything from the woman's mind. Just focus on her body, her body, her body, her body, her body, her body, her body. Does that make sense? Why? Shall I tell you what it comes down to? It's because they know men like to look at that. And then they can make money from it. Whenever you want to sell a car, put a half-naked woman in the car. Whenever you want to sell a house, let the woman who's selling the house, dress in a pencil skirt and a low-cut blouse, and she's the one who's showing you around the house and convincing you to buy the house. You're not buying the house, you're buying it because you think you might get the girl. That's how it is. So they use the woman, and what have they done? They've made, and literally this is prostitution. Prostitution is that a woman, she sells her body for money, right? And that's literally what society wants. So they want you to, in the workforce, like in certain countries, they will only hire girls who are from a particular country. They only hire girls from a particular country. I won't mention because I don't want to offend anyone. But why? Because the girls they are known to be beautiful from that area. So in the corporate world, in the offices, they only hire girls that look like that. Why? Because they know these are the girls who are going to go out, they're going to sell, we're going to put their pretty faces everywhere. So it's to belittle the woman. It's to sell the woman. It's literally just like prostitution like that. So I'm saying the whole society is working towards that. So sisters, you have to combat it. You have to be the one that says, no, I'm not going to do that, inshallah ta'ala. You know you're beautiful because Allah said, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Allah said, I created you beautiful. So you already know you're beautiful. You don't have to prove it to anyone, but you hide that beauty. What? You hide it for your husbands, inshallah ta'ala, who you're going to get married to one day. You hide it for your family members, inshallah ta'ala, who you're with. And you hide it when you're with women who are righteous and you're in segregated weddings and parties. You enjoy yourself. But when you're out there and you're in the world and you're working and you're doing your thing, you're saying, you can't judge me based on how I look. You have to judge me based on my mind here. And that's really what freedom of women is about. That's really what empowerment of women is about. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So that's why Allah Azza wa Jalla said, when you cover yourself up like this, you're protecting yourself. You're protecting yourself. You won't be harmed. You won't be harmed mentally. You won't be harmed emotionally. You won't be harmed physically. You won't be harmed psychologically. They say we want men and women to be equal. And it's impossible. You can't be equal because you're different. We're different, right? That's why we have different toilets. If it was equal, we'd go into the same toilets, right? We're different. So they can't be equal. But the thing is, they want us to be equal, right? So, but they strip away the mind of the woman to focus just on her body. She'll never be equal to a man. Because she can't get a job based on her results at school. It's just based on how she looks. That's why she feels like I have to go plastic surgery, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this, I have to do that. And it's crazy. It's just about how do I look, how do I look, how do I look? Can I ask you a question? Do you know any famous Muslim women that are known for anything other than makeup? Today, do you know any, I'm asking you a question, do you know any Muslim woman who's famous for anything other than fashion and makeup? Go on.
I think she's like really old. I don't know how old she is, but her name was like Hafsa, and then like they tried to take off her hijab or something on an airplane, and then she didn't.
But she's not like famous. I mean someone who's like a celebrity, someone who's known. Do you know anyone? Like people's videos go viral. That's not what I mean. Do you know any woman who's got like a YouTube channel or a blog, or she's known for anything other than makeup and fashion?
She does like surahs and stuff.
Say that again?
She does surahs.
Is she famous?
Sort of.
Okay, but it's hard, right? Because look, from the whole class, and you're girls. So you would look at girls, right? For role models, right? Like I'm a guy, I can mention to you like 20 guys. 50 guys, I can mention to you 100 guys who are known for other than fashion. But women, like as a whole class, you could only mention one. You could only mention one. Should I tell you why? It's because they destroyed women. They've literally tried to destroy women. They've attacked women. And they've tried to dumb them down so much that the women will never be able to compete with the men. They will never be able to compete with the men. So the way to combat that is to what? Is to say, I'm not following your trend. I don't care about the way that you think I look. I don't care about looks. What I care about is this right here. I care about my heart, spiritually enslaved and connected to Allah, and I care about my mind. And then you work hard and you develop in terms of your intelligence, and then you're worth something. Does that make sense? Because it's sad, my sisters, it's sad that wallahi, Muslim women talk about, oh, I want to say something, I want to be able to do something. Why is it that men are always talking about women, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, my sister, but when you got a chance to speak, all you did was show us how to put blusher on our cheeks. Whereas Muslim women who are scholars, where are Muslim women who are coming up with ideas? Can I tell you something? Have you heard of a woman called Fatima al-Fikri? Have you heard of that? Do you know she invented the university? A Muslim woman invented the concept of a university. She's from Morocco. She was from Morocco. She invented the first university. Oxford University, Cambridge University, Hertfordshire University would not exist if it wasn't for that Muslim woman. If it wouldn't exist. I know famous women that are Muslim, but they're not alive today. Because the ones today, and I'm not saying that they aren't, because they are, but they're so far and few. You lot need to climb up that ladder and become those great Muslim women once again. Have you heard of a woman called Karima? Al-Karima, rahimahullah, Mawardiya. Her name was Karima al-Mawardiya. Do you know Sahih Bukhari? You know Bukhari? The hadith collection of Bukhari? It's the most authentic book of hadith that we have. She was one of the narrators of that book. That woman. She was a teacher of great scholars like Khatib al-Baghdadi. Khatib al-Baghdadi is a scholar of hadith who wrote a book on every single chapter in hadith. He would have been nothing if it wasn't for her. He would have been nothing. Have you heard of Ibn Taymiyyah? Have you heard of Ibn Taymiyyah? Have you heard of this great scholar called Ibn Taymiyyah? Listen to this, please listen to this. Ibn Taymiyyah is such a genius. He's such a genius that people in Oxford University study him. He's a Muslim scholar. He's such a genius that people in Oxford University study him. In Harvard University, they study him. They study him around the world. In LSE, they study him. They study Ibn Taymiyyah because he was a genius. They study his Islamic works because of how intelligent he was. And Ibn Taymiyyah, it was said that there's not a single thing that was ever written on a piece of paper except that Ibn Taymiyyah read it. He read every book that existed at the time. And Imam al-Dhahabi, rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned that his memorization was so much that, he said any hadith that Ibn Taymiyyah doesn't know is not a hadith. Which is wrong to say, by the way. Which is wrong, because he didn't know every hadith. But the point he was trying to make was that Ibn Taymiyyah was a genius. And he was a high scholar of Islam. He was very high. So anyone who would ever come to speak to Ibn Taymiyyah would never need to revise. Everything was on top of his head. One time, he's got great books that are studied. It will take you a year to study it. He wrote it between Dhuhr and Asr. One time a person came to him writing a poetry about the issue of Qadr. You know what he did? He literally turned around, he faced the wall, he wrote 200-line poetry back in response. And that poetry is called his Ta'iyah, studied till today. This man was a genius. And there was no one that was on his level. But every Thursday there would be a woman that would come to ask him some questions. Her name was Fatima bint Abbas. Fatima bint Abbas. She was such a genius that whenever she would come, he wouldn't do this for any guy. He would quickly revise his notes. He would always say, Fatima's coming today. He'd say, Fatima might catch me off guard. I have to make sure if Fatima's going to ask me questions, I'm prepared. So he prepared. And it was said about Fatima bint Abbas that it was like she had memorized this book called Mughni. Mughni is a book that's about 30 volumes. It's about 30 volumes, a book in fiqh. It's an elite book in Islamic law, such that scholars like Al-Izz ibn Abd salam, I know I'm mentioning so many names right now, but there was a great scholar called Izz ibn Abd salam. He said, I never considered myself to be an Islamic scholar till I read that book, Al-Mughni. This woman had basically memorized all of it. So I'm saying, that's where the great women were. That's where the great women were. Do you understand? But now, they're known for what? Selfies. So I would love to see you lot produce something, man. But you see, the reason I went off on this tangent, because I'm trying to make you understand, is that my sisters, you can't be focused on producing great legacies like that if your focus is just how you look. Oh, my trousers, oh, my this, oh, my that. Like, you can't be focused. Like, if you're so conscious about the way you look, that takes your mind. Like me, before I go to work in the morning, like I'll read some Quran, I'll memorize some Quran, I'll read a book. But women can't do that because for an hour they have to just make sure everything looks right. And even the hijab is right. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it takes your time away. It takes your life away. You just focus. And then what does it do? It takes your deen away. You water down your religion for it. Does that make sense? I think my time is up. Is my time up? Okay. I'll leave inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Yo,
what's going on, bro?
yeah, I got the thing.
What? How much is in there?
20 mil.
You being serious?
Yeah, hold that. It's yours now.
You guys are probably wondering how this dusty looking camera is worth 20 mil. Let me break it down for you. About 6 years ago, some brothers and sisters gave us about £600 in order for us to purchase this camera to make da'wah videos. 6 years later, alhamdulillah, we made well over 1,000 videos and we reached over 20 million plus views on YouTube alone without taking into account all the other social media platforms that we're on. So those people at the time when they gave that money, I don't think they had any idea that that £600 that they gave was gonna go towards a camera that would reach 20 million people who watch videos and they changed their lives after having watched them, who watched these videos and started praying, who watched these videos and accepted Islam. Can you imagine if they were sincere, the kind of reward that they're gonna get on the day of judgment, inshallah ta'ala? But now here's the issue. This camera is 6 years old. I mean, there's cracks in it, it's breaking, it's well past its sell-by date. We're trying to take things up to the next level. In order to do that, we need a new camera. In fact, we need more than one. We need more equipment. We need to actually hire a bigger media team. But all of this stuff, it comes with expenses, it comes with costs. And over the next 6 years, inshallah ta'ala, we're looking to reach well over 20 million people. Now look, I'm gonna be direct with you. I'm about to ask you for some money to put towards the da'wah for the sake of Allah. But before I do that, I wanna tell you some figures, some statistics to show you the kind of reward that you might be looking at, inshallah, if you come with sincerity and the donation. Just take a look at the kind of numbers we have over the last 90 days. Over the last 90 days, we received over 1.4 million views on our YouTube channel alone. That's 466,000 views every 30 days. That's 15,555 views per day. That's right. You could be in your sleep, sleeping 6, 7, 8 hours a day, however much you sleep, and just earning a reward, inshallah ta'ala. Why? Because you gave a bit of money that went towards a very big project. Now, with that 15,000 odd views a day, if you average that out across 6 years, which is the lifespan of this camera, do you know how much reward that is, inshallah? That's 34,065,450 views. I don't know about you, but that kind of reward, I need that in my life. This is not the kind of opportunity that we should be passing up, especially if you've got sins. The Prophet ﷺ said that giving charity wipes away sins the way that water, it extinguishes fire. So look, say no more, inshallah ta'ala. I don't feel like I should have to convince you towards giving to a project like this anymore. If you want that kind of reward, you want the da'wah to spread, you want la ilaha illallah to spread across the internet, inshallah ta'ala, then you want to give at the link below to this project. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Remember, 20 mil, yeah, and that's on YouTube alone.